Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm reacting to what are the satanic verse. So please guys, stay tuned and enjoy this wonderful video with me.
Dr. Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
My pleasure to be on.
We're hearing a lot about satanic verses these days. You know, this is the title of a book that Salman Rushdie wrote in 1988, and it has caused much furor around the world. But Dr. Shabir, I want to talk about where that term came from. What are the satanic verses?
Yeah, so the term satanic verses is used in modern academic literature to refer to some purported verses of the Quran which, according to some Islamic narratives, were once recited by our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and taken to be a part of the Quran, but later on denounced as having a satanic origin. To give more details about that, the story says that when the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was reciting the 53rd chapter of the Quran, at a certain point, the chapter as it is now, in verses 19 to 20, says something like this: أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ اللَّاتَ وَالْعُزَّى وَمَنَاةَ الثَّالِثَةَ الْأُخْرَى. Have you not considered Al-Lat and Al-Uzza, which are names of two of the gods, goddesses that were worshipped in Arabia at the time, which Islam comes to denounce and say there's
the
only
pagan
one
goddesses,
god.
yes.
Yeah, so these are pagan goddesses. And then it says وَمَنَاةَ الثَّالِثَةَ الْأُخْرَى, and then Al-Manat, the third one, the other one. So, and then the next verse, as it is in the Quran nowadays, it says أَلَكُمُ الذَّكَرُ وَلَهُ الْأُنْثَى. Is it that you want sons for yourself, but you want to give the daughters to God? تِلْكَ إِذًا قِسْمَةٍ ضِيزَى. That would be an unfair distribution. So God is, according to the Quran here, I mean, the way it's worded, we can say that God is using their own sort of presuppositions against them. They presuppose that boys are better than girls. Not this is in fact, the Quran in fact shows that this is not correct to think that way. But the Quran is saying basically, since you think that way, you think that boys are better, why do you want to attribute daughters to God as opposed, and then you want the sons for yourself? So that would be unfair. So that's how the verse reads now, the verses read now.
In Surah Najm.
In Surah Najm, the 53rd chapter of the Quran, starting with the 19th verse. Now, the story about this says that, regarding the satanic verses, says that, well, when the Prophet, peace be upon him, recited that, you know, and Manat al-Thalithat al-Ukhra, and Manat, the third, the other one, then Satan threw in something into his recitation, words that say something like this: these are the high-flying cranes whose intercession is to be desired or to be expected. So that's what the Prophet, peace be upon him, recited, and people heard. And they prostrated as a result, because they thought, oh, now the Prophet, peace be upon him, has compromised with us. His strict monotheism that bothered us now is accommodating us with our feminine deities, our goddesses. And so they were willing to go along with prostrating, praying along with the Muslims, until the angel Gabriel came to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and asked him, can you recite to me what you were reciting? So the Prophet recited like that, including the verses that praise the feminine, the goddesses. And then Gabriel says, well, you know what, that part is not from me, that part is from the shaitan, so that has to go. And then obviously it was excised, and we have the resulting text now in the 53rd chapter of the Quran, which is a strict monotheistic text, you know, criticizing them for thinking that God has daughters. So that is what is referred to as the satanic verses. And of course it becomes infamous, because from an un-Muslim point of view, this is very strange. It would look like your prophet cannot distinguish between
what is satanic and what is from God.
Exactly, at least not initially. But of course, Muslim scholars who defended this story, so some defended it, some criticized it, but among the Muslims, those who defended the story as being authentic would say, well, of course it happened, but in the end, the Prophet, peace be upon him, made that distinction, and what he gave us in the end is purely from God. There's nothing satanic in there. And the Quran, they would cite another verse.
Guys, this wonderful video is very, very, very nice, and I enjoyed reacting to this video. What are the satanic verse? Because some people will say that, oh, male child is more important than girl's child, or this and that, or male is important than female. No, to me, I don't like people condemning or separating them. We are all equal in the sight of God. So I don't know why people keep using that word, that male child is more important. Male child is best to go to school, then female child best to get married and stay at home. No, it's not good. It's a very, very wrong thinking. Very, very. So it's better for you to, because God created all of us in equally. We all give we're able to come to this world the same thing, with 2 legs, 2 hands, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth, 1 nose. So we are all equal, no matter the gender. You understand? You might be a man, you might be a woman, but we are all equal in the sight of the Lord. So guys, please, let's continue.
Verse of the Quran from the 22nd chapter, in the 52nd verse, which seems, according to their opinion, to allude to this incident.
So Dr. Shabir, how would you understand these narrations? Because we know that they mostly come from the biographies of the Prophet Muhammad and the exegesis of the Quran, right? So what is your interpretation?
Yeah, so and you're right, it doesn't come from the most authentic sources of hadith, narrating events about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So in Bukhari's narrative, for example, we have the story just as a straight reading of the 53rd chapter of the Quran, at the end of which both the Muslims and the non-Muslims prostrated. And now, the non-Muslim Orientalists have looked at this and said, well, it must be true, because Muslims would not have invented this. Why would they invent such a story to cast their Prophet, peace be upon him, in an embarrassing light? But one Orientalist, John Burton, professor of Islamic studies at the University of Edinburgh in Scotland, wrote many books, but one of his articles deals directly with this, and is entitled "Those Are the High-Flying Cranes." And he posits that 2 things could explain why Muslims would have come up with this story by themselves, or at least embraced it once it started to be bandied about. One is that Muslims wanted to explain things from the Quran that seemed obscure. So, for example, I referred to Surah 22, verse number 52, which basically says, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِكَ مِنْ رَسُولٍ وَلَا نَبِيٍّ إِلَّا إِذَا تَمَنَّى أَلْقَى الشَّيْطَانُ فِي أُمْنِيَّتِهِ. So whenever we have sent a prophet or a messenger, Satan always threw something into his umniya, is the Arabic word. Umniya could be his recitation, or it could also be his hopes. But scholars took it to be recitation, and so they want to have a story, like, when did it ever happen that Satan did this? So they came up with a story like this.
Like an occasion of revelation.
Yes, or at least embrace the story. The other thing is more complicated to explain. John Burton shows that Muslim scholars had this idea of abrogation, that there must have been some verses that were once in the Quran but no longer there. And this story supports that contention that there were verses of the Quran that were removed. So here is a verse or a couple of verses that were removed. So to him, it is easy to explain this as a Muslim invention, and it's hard to conceive of this happening historically, because imagine the Prophet, peace be upon him, preaching a pristine monotheism, then reneging on that to compromise, and then going back to the pristine monotheism. He wouldn't be able to convince people that he is genuine, not Muslims or non-Muslims.
Thank you for that, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome. Support us today and help us share the message
Wow.
of Islam with people across the globe. Thank you, and may God bless you and your loved
Wow,
ones with
guys,
the very
this
best
is amazing.
always.
This is beautiful. I love the way the preacher was able to educate the girl interviewing him about what are the Satan verse. Like I enjoyed the way he was able to educate the interviewer, because this Satan verse in the Bible were created by people that just want to talk or bad about Islam. So it's not there. And the Bible, because they keep saying that the Bible is some people remove some verses in the Bible, some people remove some verses in Quran. So I keep saying that is not true, because Muhammad have already said everything in that Quran. Everything that he said is true. So all these satanic verses and all those things, they are not real. People just make it up so I can be able to have a story or things to say or things to just use in condemning the work of the Lord. So that's the reason why sometimes it's not everything you see you believe. This is a very nice interview that it have really educated me on this satanic verse. So guys, please comment below on any video you want us to react to, share, like this video, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ngal Fashion Store. Fashion makes sense.